Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV. The Albert JTV's practice is officially back open again. Episode 22 of Weekly Surgery. But before we get into it with my amazing guests, let's hit the new intro. Footballing community. Waiting time is now over. The Albert JTV practice is now open. The surgery required is Premier League talk and any other business. Let's get to work. Welcome to the Weekly Surgery. There you have it, people. Good afternoon to the new Weekly Surgery intro. Bit of acid music intro going into Weekly Surgery, but I like it, people. Episode 22. Smash the like button if you haven't already. This is live on YouTube, Facebook, and of course, the amazing world of Twitter. A bit debatable sometimes, but we'll talk about that another time. Don't worry. People get hellos and got the Ramsey Pumpkins in there already. Thank you, my friend. Yes, Weekly Surgery, episode 22. The Premier League season is now officially over. We can all go on vacation, not talk about any football transfers whatsoever, which is a lie because we'll talk about it every day. And yeah, the season's done. I think we all need a vacation as content creators and people that consume YouTube and talk about football. We need a breather, people. People, as you can see, all the listeners you can't see, but you'll hear eventually when I say it. We've got a mixture of Arsenal, Liverpool, and Tottenham joining the panel. They've all been on Weekly Surgery before, but I'm glad to get them back again, to be honest, people. So I'm going to start with my guests first. I'll come to my Liverpool brother from another mother, Doug. Thank you for coming on. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
No, of course, good to get you on, man. Like I said, you're one of the Liverpool fans that I actually do like, and I've got a lot of time for, so it's all right.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But no, coming to my Tottenham YouTube wife. This is the best part of our partnership at the time of the year because the season's done. Don't have to talk about rivalries. Don't have to talk about the only club being in London being in the Champions League. So it's all right, Holly. Holly, it's a pleasure to see you. You know how much I love you, even despite the rivalry. Thank you for coming on. It's good to see you.
No, I feel like I've had lots of therapy sessions during the season, so it's quite nice to have a surgery session now. I think I need it, but no, I'm very happy to be here. I'm so glad the season's over.
I am as well. I am as well. We need a break. I've said this for the last 2 weeks now, and of course, last but not least, my brother from another mother, representing Hastings. I don't even want to say that loud, Ray, but it's fine. That's what you're But good to get you on, man. How you been?
Yeah, all good, mate. Thank you again for having me on. Yeah, just worn out with this season, to be fair. It's just been so draining, isn't it? Just emotionally. But yeah, good to get on here and chat with you guys. So let's do it.
Yeah, 100%. Now, people, as you will tell in the title, Doug and Holly have got channels. So don't even think about it, people. Go and just hit the title and subscribe to their channels, as I would like to say. I follow my guy Ray on Ray's too good to have a channel. His opinions are so fantastic. He hasn't got time to create a channel, so it doesn't even matter to have one. But now it's good to get you guys on. So you know what to do. All the listeners, this will go out on my Spotify and Anchor later, so you can hear my dulcet tone. Sorry, Apple as well. Sorry, people. So yeah, I'm gonna start with Ray first, actually, because you was at the game yesterday. I wasn't there, but I knew I wasn't going to the game for quite a while now. So I didn't have a ticket, and two, when I did try, I thought, you know what, I'll try once. If I don't get one, tough. It's been like that this season at Arsenal. But yeah, mate, final day, 5-0 win against Wolves. What was the atmosphere like at the ground? And what's your sort of immediate feeling now the day after the season's done now?
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere at the ground was relatively good. I think a lot of people have just accepted the facts, how the season has ended. And I think a lot of people will just sort of reflect on it quite positively. So they wanted to see the team off and just sort of kind of thank them really for giving us, such a good season up until the last few weeks. And kind of just, say goodbye to some players that might be leaving as well. So, yeah, everyone was up for it before, during and after the game. And, lovely sunny day in North London. Absolutely thrashing Wolves. Doesn't get much better.
No, well said. We'll touch back onto Arsenal. I just want to quickly get the other guys' thoughts about sort of the last games of the season and how you're feeling. So I'm going to come to Doug. Actually, Liverpool were actually were Liverpool my tip to win the league at the start of the season? Actually, it might have been, to be fair. I can't remember now. I have to watch back my own content, Doug. I apologize, but yeah, season's done now, Doug. A cricket score of a game yesterday at Southampton Stadium, 4-4. I couldn't believe it, but. Yeah, what's your thoughts about the game yesterday and sort of the season as a whole, mate?
That just sums up our season. We look very, very good going forward, and we look very, very good scoring goals. But at the back, we have been absolutely tragic this season. Absolutely tragic. As conceding 4 against probably arguably the worst team in the league is very, very embarrassing. But look, I think we've got to say we've not been good enough this season. We've not been any good enough to get Champions League. So I think to get Europa League, especially after starting the season very, very slow, I think is the most that we can actually take out of this season. But very, very poor season as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. I mean, it's been a few shocks this season. Arsenal going for a league title, we didn't see that coming. Me and Ray, even with our fortune-telling days, did not see that coming. And some of the Arsenal fans in the chat, got some Liverpool fans there as well. But yeah, Liverpool's season has been crazy. Even someone that has no affiliation with the club, there's been some results where you took teams to the sword this season, but it's been backed up by just inconsistent defeats of like teams like Bournemouth and, like you said, the game yesterday. It's a 4-4. I feel wow. I know it's the last game of the season, but even I was shocked. But Ray, we'll touch on a little. I'm sorry, yeah. Ray and obviously Doug will touch on Arsenal a little bit more. And come into Holly. I'll be honest. Look, I mean, as your YouTube husband and also your rival fan, I did think he win yesterday. Leeds had been dreadful. I will come on to them anyway. But so, what's your sort of thoughts? Watching, I didn't know the game was on BT Sport. Actually, I was shocked. I didn't know that. Not that I would have watched it anyway. Even if you paid me to go watch, I would have watched it because I don't watch that dross. But no, no. On a serious note, your thoughts on the season as quickly and also sort of the game yesterday. How did it pan out for you?
It's been a bit of a mess all season, to be honest. But that isn't really a surprise to many. I mean, at the start of the season, I was thinking we've got a few signings over the line. You know, this could be a good one. And then it all just went to pot. And I think that just kind of sums up our defence. I mean, when we scored first yesterday, I literally thought it was Leeds scoring because I know we were in the away colours. But I was like, that's the same goals I've seen Spurs concede all season. So it's quite nice to be on the winning side of it. But yeah, no, I think everything at Spurs at the moment is a bit toxic on and off the pitch. So it's no surprise that at least yesterday we managed to get a win. And I feel so happy for Lucas Moura because obviously he is leaving. And for him to score a goal like he did of the Lucas of old was nice. But yeah, there's a lot going on at Spurs at the moment. It's not all good.
Well, hold on. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. We will come on to that with all respective clubs, what we're going to look for to next season and potential maybe possible names I'll throw at you in terms of players coming in on players you would like at your club. But people in the chat, drop us a quick reminder what's going on in the playoff one final because it's gone to penalties. Firstly, before I come to Doug again, big shout out to obviously Carlisle, Jess Stelling's boys, winning on penalties yesterday. Very delighted for him when he's last day on Saturday. And also a big shout out to the Luton Massive, who will be a Premier League team next season. A special shout out to let me get it right, Pele, Ruddock, and Pandu, who has gone from non-league to Premier League. Only player to ever have done that, but stay at the same club. It's actually quite an incredible achievement. So yeah, Luton in the Premier League. Wow. I'll be honest. Sort of looking at the Championship before I come back to the Premier League. I thought the right teams were in the playoffs. I thought the final would be between Middlesbrough and Luton, if I'm being honest. But I thought Middlesbrough went into the playoffs not in the best form and it showed. Coventry, I hope they can bounce back because for some teams that lose in the playoff final, it's very difficult to come back the following season and go again. So hopefully they can. And Mark Robbins has done a fantastic job. And also, quick recovery to Tom Lockyer as well. Very, 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 really scary scenes in that playoff final. So I hear he's up in his bed and he's doing well. But yeah, the way they ticket for Arsenal and any Premier League team going to Luton is going to be, to put it politely, it's going to be a little bit tricky. You can see some of the stuff on socials that I've been going around in terms of the way entrance. Wow, Coronation Street are us, man. But I'll tell you what, it's mad Premier League. But big up people in the chat. Perchy's in there. Big up Perchy, man. Thank you, bro. Also, Holly, big up Perchy as well. Don't live far too Luton. Listen, if I get an away ticket for that, man, I'll tell you. But more than likely, it's not happening. But so let me come back to the Premier League. So obviously, you guys know weekly surgery is not just about our respective clubs. There was relegation battle yesterday. Now I'll give you my quick thoughts before I come to Ray. Looking at the last day fixtures, I thought Everton were incredibly lucky, man. I'm sorry, I've got to say, I don't know. Upset Everton Rose, I love you, but if Everton had played West Ham or Tottenham, I don't think they've been in the Premier League, if I'm being honest. Bournemouth have been on the beach since they got 39 points, personally. I think Wolves the same as well. But what did you make of the final day? Did you have any allegiance to who you might want to stay up, or what did you make of it? Or did the teams go down that you thought would go down?
Yeah, I think the teams kind of did go down that I thought was. From a selfish point of view, I'm fed up of going to Goodison Park every year and losing. So I kind of wanted Everton to go down. But yeah, they just got the job done, didn't they? It's quite a good goal, to be fair, wasn't it, the Corey? But yeah, when the fans get behind that club, it is a real difficult place. And it's just been managed so badly, hasn't it?
It's terrible.
Year on year. They remind me a bit of, Hamburg in the Bundesliga, where they were just always in the Bundesliga, and they had a clock where they were counting how long they were there for. And eventually it kind of backfired because then they got relegated, and I don't think they've been in the top flight ever since. It kind of reminds me a bit of like that, and sort of how Sunderland were when they kept fighting relegation every year. So I think Everton just need to be really, really careful. But yeah, it's for that club to be in the position they were in the first place is pretty shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're right. And sort of, Doug, coming to you, I don't know how you feel about Everton. I'm not saying you're going to love them, Doug, but I mean, I'm just going to get your opinion anyway. But going off what Doug was saying, like, as you guys know, I'm 21 plus VAT, as I make that very, very clear. Now, this is the third time this has happened with Everton now, going to the last game of the season and for Premier League survival. This can't continue. Once you're lucky, twice you're getting really, really lucky. Third time, now you're taking it a bit too far now, because they're going into a new stadium. But Doug, I'll be honest with you, I was never confident that Bournemouth would go there and get a result. I thought Everton would just scrape it. I thought Leeds were done anyway, but we'll come on to Leeds a little bit more. But yeah, just your thoughts about the final day relegation battle, man.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very interesting right up until obviously Everton scored, and then I think it was just sort of a damp squib after that. I mean, I didn't expect Leeds to beat Tottenham, I'll be honest. I think Leeds have been absolutely horrendously bad this season. They concede goals for fun, especially at Elland Road. They seem to be conceding a lot of goals for fun, but I think Everton, obviously we say that a cat's with 9 lives. I think they probably used 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, 7, 8, or 9 out of their 9 lives. Honestly, they're so fortunate to stay in this league.
Yeah, they are.
They still might have financial implications potentially coming to them as well, because I think they are facing charges, especially for the FFP, etc. So remains to be seen what will happen with that. But yeah, Everton for me, as you said, this is the third time that this has happened. I think the first one was when Howard Kendall was manager. So that would have been the 97-98 season. Yeah. That was the first time. And then obviously I think last season they were very, very fortunate to stay up then. And then obviously to this season as well. So they have been very, very fortunate. But the one problem with Everton, they can't score goals. You look at the Brighton game. Yeah. You look at the Brighton away game. Doucouré scored, I think, two times there. So Doucouré's scored more of their goals than Dominic Calvert-Lewin has all season. Neil Maupay's done all season. So the one thing Everton need to look at next season is the goal scorer. Otherwise, it's going to be the same season that they're going to have as well. But you'd have to imagine that they'll keep Deitch, especially. But it's who they bring in, I think, is the most important thing. But yeah, for me, I think Everton were very, very fortunate. That was one of my predictions that actually went off. I actually had them in 17th. I thought it was going to be a bit of a struggle for them. So I managed to get that right. But yeah, we won't talk about my other predictions. The only other predictions I think I got right were Wolves in 13th and Manchester City champions. The rest, all over the place.
Fair enough, Doug. I've been on a prediction show. I love it, man. Definitely come back on again, man. But no, great to get your thoughts. And Holly, coming to you, I actually said Leeds were one of my predictions to go down in the start of the season. I thought they was very lucky to start last season under Jesse Marsh. I know they got rid of Bielsa. I know the Leeds fans' relationship with him, but results were not great, and they were heading one way. But Leeds have conceded 78 goals this season. 78. You cannot start with conceding goals that amount. So I thought Tottenham would beat them. With Everton, they came to our ground. Now let me get this right because it's weird because other people were already saying last season. So 2 seasons ago when they came to the Emirates, they were awful. They were absolutely terrible. Honestly, it was awful. We beat them. They were safe, but we beat. I said, you know what? They're going to struggle next season. It was actually worse than what I thought it'd be. But yeah, Doug makes a point. They cannot score to save their lives. And to be honest with you, what has kept them up is even the games they won, they were 1-0, more or less, apart from the Brighton one. And on top of that, probably the win against Brighton's kept them up because, like I said, they was very lucky with the way the fixtures panned out yesterday. So what's your thoughts of relegation battle, Ollie?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Everton to stay up just because their fan base is immense. That ground is incredible. The noise they make, this, that, and the other, and the way they get behind their team. So in that kind of respect, I really wanted Everton to do it. But you guys are all right in the sense that they haven't got a goal scorer. I mean, they can have Richarlison back if they want him.
No.
But yeah,
come on, they suffered enough, Holly. They've suffered enough.
We could give them back for a little bit more if they want, Levy's tactics and all that. But yeah, no, they do need to find someone to get some goals in the back of the net. In terms of the Leeds game, you say you had them beating Spurs, but let's be real, Spurs haven't been that great at the back. And I know that Leeds have been awful, but when you're in that position that you could potentially stay up if results go your way, you could play out of your skin, basically.
No, Holly, they've been terrible, honestly. They got 5s against Palace, 6 against Liverpool. They're just dreadful.
I know, but Albert, trust. After suffering watching Spurs all season, Spurs going away from home with them not shouting in the background at Ellen Road, you don't know. But no, as soon as we obviously scored that early on, I was kind of like, okay, right, we're safe now. I can stop panicking. But no, you're right. I think, like you say, Leeds have been awful. So they kind of deserve to go down. So yeah, it was a good last day of the season to say. But like you said, as soon as Decore scored that whiz bomb, I like to say, you kind of knew it was done and dusted.
Yeah. One more thing before I'm going to move on to not talk about the other club that have unfortunately gone down because I think there'll be a fire sale in their club, to be honest with you. Leicester City. Holly, come back to you. 2 wins. If I got this right, 2 wins in 16. I mean, I don't know what's happened to them. There was a period in the season where they was obviously struggling. Then they had a period where they got it together. Then after the World Cup, I don't know what's happened to this football club. They've had an amazing 7-8 years. And they've been Premier League champions. They've won the FA Cup. And I generally, there's always this saying that you're never too good to go down as you are. You are. They're down. They're gone. So what have you quickly made of them? I mean, I'll go through some of their players, Holly. Like they've got the likes of Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, Inacho. I think the guy at the centre back for is it Wout Fast? He's done all right, but obviously they've gone down. They've got some good players there, man. I'm sure you as a Tottenham fan might want maybe 2 of them, maybe possibly in that. That's not possibly. Mm-hmm. So what have you made of Leicester, man? It's been a great ride, but yeah, mad.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. Like you said, there's a lot of quality within that team, and it's crazy to think in a sense that they have gone down. But like you said, you're never safe in the Premier League. The Premier League is one of those leagues that you can never bank on staying up. And like you say, there are a few players, especially Maddison, that I think Spurs need. We need a creative midfielder. And I know under Conte, it's not Conte's system, but Conte's gone and dusted now. So we need to move on. And I think bringing in someone that can really open up the park, because we kind of had it with Bentancur, but obviously he's injured and still injured for quite a while into the next season. So we need someone that's going to open up the park, because we just don't have that at the moment. And our midfield is so stale. We get overrun all the time, and there's no one to put that killer ball through. So Maddison's got to be the one we've got to be snapping up. But I think the fee that Leicester want for him is quite high. And I don't blame them, because they are going down. They're going to have to rebuild. There's going to be a lot of players, like you say, they're going to lose. So they need to recuperate some funds.
Yeah, Holly, I didn't remind you many years ago, you could have signed a half-decent player who's from the Midlands originally. He's had a fantastic season at Man City. He's called Jack Grealish. Sorry to remind you of it.
There's lots of players that you could throw at me about that. All right, so let's not start.
I know how much you love Jack Grealish, but it's fine. It's all right. I know, you know, but it's fine.
Man.
I'll come into Doug quickly. Yeah, Doug. About Leicester, I don't know if you saw it, Doug, or if any of you guys saw it on the social media. Chris Wheatley, who's a journalist, I think he's based in the Midlands now, working like not in the Forest, but he's an Arsenal fan. And he put some quotes up saying, as they even asked me to pronounce the Leicester chairman. They're like, I'm not going to get that right. he put up quotes of what he was saying about some of the. I think he's received some quite unsavory stuff from some of the Leicester fan base, apparently, that I saw. Where do you sort of stand with that? And also, they have had an incredible 7 years. I mean, it's not like they've been wallowing in self-pity for 5 years.
No, they obviously had that great escape season, the first sort of season they were up. And then obviously 15-16 won the Premier League. They were in the Champions League as well. They were very, very close to, knocking out Atletico Madrid as well. This season has gone from really bad to worse. I thought last season that they were sort of on the periphery of, struggling really, really badly. I think they should have got rid of Rodgers. I think they got rid of him way too soon. Way too late, I should say. I think if they had got rid of him with about 12 games to go, then I think they might have had a chance to, stay up. It'd be interesting to see if they keep Dean Smith. That's him suffered his second relegation in a row, which is not very, very good for him. But I'm sure he'll bounce back. But I always had a feeling with Leicester this season that some of their players wanted out. I think you can quite clearly see the body language wasn't right. I thought, like, Tielemans, Maddison, I think they were both wanting to be gone, if we're being honest. They brought about Vazen. I don't think that's been a great... But the big problem for me, you do not let a club captain like Kasper Schmeichel go for £1 million to Nice and then literally not replace him. Danny Ward for me has never struck me as a number one goalkeeper. No. Daniel Iverson has come in. He's done a pretty good job, I'll be honest. Daniel Iverson has done a pretty, very good job. Then they had Alex Smithies, who isn't Premier League proven. So that's the big point for me, is the defeats that they were having. Even Spurs beat them 6-2 earlier in the season, as well. And I remember that as well. Like, basically, Son was going through a really bad patch, and then he got a hat trick. But it just goes to show that it's not just this season that Leicester have gone down. It's more the fact of they didn't keep a clean sheet right up until that Newcastle game. Prior to the World Cup, they had one clean sheet in, I think, 22 league games. That isn't good enough. You need to keep clean sheets in this league, and you definitely need to score goals. I think, unfortunately, this season it has just come too much for Leicester City. And the one thing as well, they kept losing games against the bottom half teams, like the teams in and around them. Everton, they should have been home and dry against by, I think, the first or second half. Southampton, they lost home and away. Like, that is really, really poor. And when you lose those kind of games, you are in for a big, big struggle. It came way too late. And the one game I think you look at, barring the Everton game, is the Newcastle game. Yeah, they sat back way too much, and had that one chance with Castagna to potentially get in the back of the net. Honestly, it was too little, too late for Leicester City. And next season's championship, I know obviously we've got the playoff final as well. It is 0-0. The goal was ruled out by VAR for some reason anyway. I'm looking at that championship, and that is not an easy league to get out of.
Tough, very tough. No, Doug, great shout. Ray, coming to you. Obviously, sort of Leicester and Leeds. I'm not being funny, Ray. I'm sorry. I don't care how experienced Big Sam is and the ego and the rest of it. You cannot give a man 4 matches to save the club in the Premier. I think that's crazy. But then why did you appoint Javi Gracia? It's madness. And Leicester, Doug makes a good point about the clean sheets. I think they had the worst clean sheet, I think, across all of the 5 leagues in Europe.
Yeah. That Fulham game absolutely killed Leicester, didn't it? The 5-3 away to Fulham a few weeks ago. That absolutely, I think if they won that, then their pole position stay up. But obviously that wasn't the case. But you were talking about Leeds, sorry.
Yeah, go on. But both of them. Chuck in both, Ray. Go on, bro.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of Leeds, appointing Big Sam with 4 games to go is just absolute desperation, isn't it? I think he was going to get a £2 million bonus, and I think he got 500 grand, I think it was, for the time he was there. Shocking. Ever since Bielsa's left, obviously that club has just been on a downward spiral. And when they first come up, Leeds, and they got promoted from the Championship, they were built on high energy, attacking football. They were going to score 4, but they might concede 3, but they always had goals in them. And when Bielsa left, he said that this club or this squad has a shelf life. And once that's done, we have to replace them. The Leeds board looked like they were too stubborn to do so. Just kept the players that they had because they'd done well for them in the past, and it's turned around to bite them in the backside, really. So, yeah, I think kind of Leeds, unfortunately for them, deserve to be relegated because, as you mentioned, you can't concede the amount of goals that they have been conceding.
Goals. Madness.
And I mean, and what was keeping them up originally, their attacking threat has just completely dried up. I mean, Patrick Bamford looks like he should be playing in the conference, let alone in the Premier League. It's incredible.
But Ray, even on top of that, coming back to you, sorry, like even some of the players why is Noncho on the bench? Why is Somerville on the bench? Why is your young attacking players, when you're in the worst position in the league, on the bench to win games? It makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, they brought in that guy from Germany, didn't they? Rutter, I think his name is. 35 million.
Rutter.
And he's absolutely dive bombs. I mean, I don't even know if he wants to be there. And, judging on this half of the season, I don't know if there's going to be any takers for him. So, yeah, they've absolutely dropped one there, Leeds. And it's going to be very difficult, I think, for them to come back up. But what I would say is that they have got a young squad, so at least they can make relatively good sales, in my opinion. Players like Melier, the goalie, I think will move on. Sinistera, he's looked all right, but he just suffered with injuries. Jack Harrison, I think there'll be teams in the sort of mid to lower. Will take him. And of course, you've got Nyonto, Somerville looks all right. Tyler Adams as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
So they have got players there that they could either use in the Championship or sell on for big fees. But I mean, the board there is an absolute mess because I don't even know if they're going to get taken over now or what the situation is there really.
Well, their owner Radrizzani, I think, had this bid turned down by Sampdoria to take over them. So whatever happens now, it's looking like a complete and utter shambles for Leeds United on and off the pitch, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I think they had an agreement where if they stayed in the Prem, the 49ers group would have bought them for a certain amount.
Yeah.
But because they're not in the Prem, they obviously don't want to pay the price that they would have, or I don't think Radrizzani, wants to sell for that price. So it is just a complete and utter, I can't swear, can I? But it's an absolute.
No, if it's after Watershed, I'd let you just go away with it, man. It's fine.
Yeah. But it's not good there. So yeah, if I was a Leeds fan at this moment in time, I would expect a good couple of seasons in the Championship before they're good to come up again.
Ray and Doug, you make some good points about the Championship is a tough league to come out of, man. It's very, very hard. It's 48, 46 games a season. It's not for the faint-hearted, man. But no, it's great to get you guys' thoughts. Going to take it back to our respective clubs. Come back to Holly. So, in terms of, I don't know if this is a blessing or a disgrace. You'll tell me as a Tottenham fan, because obviously City won the league, Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle, Champions League, Europa League, Liverpool, and Brighton, and Conference League is Aston Villa. Holly, I've got to be honest, right? If someone had said to me, when Unai Emery came in at Villa, he'd take them from where they are, and they finished above you. They finished above you by a point.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you haven't got European football for next season. Obviously you've got, to be honest, you've got quite a few other issues to talk before talking about European football. I have to ask you about the manager thing. Right? I've had this conversation with you before. Look, put your head up. No, come on. This is your club. You got to face it. Before you got Nuno, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was on your channel. I actually said this on your channel. You invited me onto your channel. I said it. I've never known a football club in my lifetime to be linked with so many managers and not get any. And then you went and bought in a guy. Yes, he done a fantastic job at Wolves, and I think even Wolves fans knew at the time, look, he's been here long enough, Nuno. Tottenham bought him in, right? You didn't keep him for very long. I think probably the best part of just over 2 months, if I got that right. You've had the likes of Mourinho after Poch. You've had Conte. Conte was a manager that I don't think I could find any Spurs fan at the time that was disappointed that you brought him in. Mm-hmm. Actually, a lot of Tottenham fans were very happy that he came in, to be honest with you.
Especially after Nuno.
Yeah, especially after Nuno. So, again, Arne Slot's been linked. That's not going to happen. Nagelsmann, apparently, that's not going to happen. There's talks of the Celtic manager, Ange Postecoglou, coming in, possibly. Where do you sit with the managers? Is there a manager in mind that you want, or is it a case of just bring somebody into the club?
It's got to the point now where the list looks nice. Obviously, Nagelsmann, I think if you speak to most Spurs fans, they will say they want Nagelsmann in. But obviously, he won't come unless there's a director of football, which we still currently don't have. And I don't know how we're linked with players when we still don't have one or a manager. So for me, it would be Nagelsmann. But again, we need to sort that with the board. The guy from Celtic, I've had this discussion.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his name. I'll let you do it. I've had this discussion with many people, and
what's the feeling about him?
It's kind of split. People want him in because he's a new shiny toy that's obviously won a trophy. But then I also look at his repertoire of where he's been, and you think, I don't think that's Premier League standard. I mean, Pochettino, yes, okay, didn't win anything at Spurs, but he had Southampton under his belt before us, and Espanyol. With Celtic, he's been to Japan? I think it's Japan, Australia.
Yeah.
Now he's at Celtic. Yes, he's won something, but again, it's not filling me with a lot of confidence. And then obviously you've got I've spoken about Nagelsmann. You've got Mason that's still at the helm currently with us, and the way things are going, I actually think I'd prefer him to stay. That's how bad things have got.
Would you put it this way? Would you be prepared as a Tottenham fan to accept Ryan Mason as new head coach?
I wouldn't want to accept it, but at the moment we ain't got a lot else to turn to. I'm not being the list is shortening by the day because our board won't sort their stuff out, basically.
Ollie, do you know what I find fascinating? I don't know how it is within your Tottenham fan base. You have to tell me, enlighten me, Doug and Ray. When Graham Potter was mentioned a few seasons ago, they absolutely turned their noses up at him. If you mention Brendan Rodgers, no chance. So I'm like, okay. You've got two managers that have been within the Premier League. Listen, there's only, let's have it right, there's 3 trophies you can win domestically, right? If you're not happy with either of those names coming forward, and you know Arne Slot's not going to come, you've had Mourinho, you've had Conte. Who the flipping hell do you want?
I honestly don't know. We're all entitled, I think, at this point. We all turn our noses up at stuff, yet we've got nothing to rave about. I don't know. If Potter comes, that's better than Rodgers because, okay, yes, Rodgers got sacked and he was struggling with the team he had. But there's so many problems to fix at Tottenham. The manager's just one of them. This squad is so and obviously the news came out today that Poch has officially gone to Chelsea. And a few
Chelsea.
a few months ago, we had Spurs fans singing in the stadium, "He's magic, you know," and now they're all calling him all the names under the sun. That's where we are as a fan base and the club currently. It's just an utter mess. So, to be brutally honest with you, I don't know who comes in as manager now.
Did they say that, Holly?
Pardon?
That comment. Sorry, Ravi just put that note. Thomas Frank.
To be honest, everyone and your nan's been floating around in lists to come to Spurs. So at this moment, possibly. All I've heard is Rodgers, the Celtic guy, Nagelsmann, but obviously that's a bit of a high hope at the moment, and Ryan Mason taking the helm. So who knows?
Have you heard? Sorry, just to point to Ravi's comment. Have you heard any? I'm going to say this. This is not me. If Tottenham fans have been saying about Thomas Frank, for me, I think you got a bit of a cheek, if I'm being honest.
More than likely, yeah. I think we're just entitled as a fan base currently. Nothing's gone our way and we think we can get what we want, but there is no pull to come to Spurs at the moment. Spurs fans kicking off that Poch's gone to Chelsea, and I'm thinking, but what has changed? What is the pull to bring him back to Spurs? There's nothing. Nothing has changed for him to come. So, yeah, it's just an utter mess. And the stress won't finish now. I was hoping for a nice break, but I don't think that's going to happen.
How is it a day after the season ends and then Spurs are back in turmoil again? I don't understand it.
There was a Twitter page that literally did like how many days since Spurs have caused a disaster. I think it got up to a grand total of 3 days before there was something else that hit off. So it's going to be like all summer.
Holly, I'll tell you what, just take a little breather for 5-10 minutes, right? Just
Holly, there's a good director of football, works in the Premier League. His name's Todd Bowley. He's done a fantastic job. So works in London as well. So maybe I'd give him a go.
Moving on. Hurry up, come with another question, please.
It's right, Holly. You take a little bit of a backseat. I'm gonna come to Doug actually with Liverpool. So
Sheffield Wednesday just scored final kick of the game as well.
Oh wow. You know what? I from a personal point of view, Doug, before I come to you about Liverpool, is I do hope Wednesday come up, purely because of the manager, Darren Moore. Amazing job. Some of the crap he's had to part with in terms of the racist abuse, and to take them up after losing that first leg 4-0, incredible. Yeah. Happens. But Doug, so coming to you about Liverpool. Boy, okay, so Europa League, Milner's going, Ox is going, Firmino's going, Naby Keita's going. Is there any more going that I failed to mention? What does Klopp need? And in terms of players, what areas do you need to strengthen on ASAP?
I think it begins with M and ends in D, and I think it's got midfield. Midfield badly needs. Midfield, 100%. I mean, the other player that seems to be on the periphery at the moment is Carvalho, which I feel really, really sorry for him. We've literally signed him to be a very, very good player, and we don't seem to play with a number 10. So again, that looks a bit of a wasted signing. But I just think it's midfield. I think another left back to have for Andy Robertson, and we badly need a right back, especially if Trent, who is sort of merging into a sort of midfielder. I think as well. I'd even get another centre back because for me, Joe Gomez, for all of his injuries that he's had, he's just not looking at the moment. So I'd say a centre back, a right back, definitely a left back, and probably midfield. No more forwards, please, because we're absolutely stacked at the forwards. Absolutely stacked. I mean, you could probably go through it. Diaz, Nunez, Salah, Gakpo, and Jota. That's not a bad five to have. I know Firmino's obviously leaving. What a player he is, by the way. Roberto Firmino. What a player he has been for us. And obviously he got a farewell goal yesterday. Obviously got a farewell goal last week against Villa as well. He is going to be badly missed, especially in the dressing room as well. Oh, McAllister, I think, is a very, very good midfielder. Looked really consolable yesterday after the Brighton loss to Villa. But Brighton have had a magnificent season, we've got to say. Him and Caicedo in the midfield have been brilliant. And, one player that hasn't really gone under, that has not really been sort of most spoken about, and I actually put him in my team of the season as Estupinian. Yeah, I think he's been excellent at Brighton.
Yeah,
I think he's
good
been
shout.
very, very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I think midfield 100% needs strengthened because we have a very, very aging midfield. I mean, I think I read we had a combined age of midfield of about 70. So it goes to show.
No, good shot. Listen, if you get McAllister, very, very good player.
Very
Very
good
impressive.
player.
I've seen in the 2 seasons. Yeah. And you make a good shot with Estupiñán at left back for Brighton. Exceptional as well this season. And a very good manager. Holly, it's another manager you could try and you know what? If I, on a serious note, if I was a Tottenham fan, which will never happen, by the way, but I'm going to say, just imagine if I was, I would want Tottenham to go and do anything. Just go to Brighton and try and drag this guy out of that stadium to bring in. But I don't think it'll happen.
He won't. The green is so much green. The grass is so much greener over there than it is in North London with us currently.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for not wanting to come.
No, fair enough. But I'm saying as a club, if you're serious
definitely
about wanting to get the right appointment or get near enough the right person in, go and be aggressive. But anyway, let's come back on this. Doug, thanks for your point at Liverpool. People, smash the like button if you haven't already. Fantastic guests, great views about anything and everything about respective clubs. Who's messaging me now? Bloody hell. Put my phone on silent. But Ray, let's come back to our beloved Arsenal, man. Like I said, season's done. I can not put any just for men in any to block out the grey hairs anymore, just for a little bit, because the season's done now. As we've spoken about many times, it's a big season, big summer window for Arsenal. I've heard that for 6-7 years. This is the one. This is the one. We're back in Champions League football. And as I mentioned to Holly before, the only team in London in the Champions League. Not going to mention that again. Actually, I will at some point during the live stream. But anyway, no.
If West Ham lose the Conference League, we'll be the only London team in Europe. So it's pretty mad.
I know. But Ray, big summer, man. What I want to see from Arsenal, I'm going to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a bad habit of not getting the number one targets, right? That needs to change very quickly, actually. But also what I want to see is Arsenal to be aggressive in the transfer window. Now, we've spoken about midfield area for a very, very long time. Actually, more than a long time. Even before I started YouTube, even before I knew you, Ray, I've been complaining about the midfield for years. We don't address it properly, or we don't address it at all. What's your thoughts in terms of how many we need to come in and the number one priority?
Well, the number one priority is a midfielder that can do everything. That's what we need to happen. In terms of numbers, I think minimum 5 needs to come in. And they need to be players that will come in and challenge for a first team spot and not just sit on the bench and sort of like Flavio Vieira, for example, just kind of sit on the bench and kind of do that thing. Actually need to be in there and make a claim for the first team. But it's a massive summer, as you mentioned, and we need to make the most of the fact that we are in the Champions League, and we need to try and build on that now. We've got a squad full of young, hungry, talented players. We play some really exciting stuff at times, and the Emirates has been absolutely fantastic to be at for most of this season. So, there's a really, really good project here at Arsenal. And like I say, watching it yesterday in the sunshine, I know it's Wolves, I know they're on the beach, but you just kind of was watching it and was just, thankful that we've, finally got a team that looks like they're pushing in the right direction. We do need to try and nail our first choice transfer targets. That is 100% something we need to do. But I do think we have been aggressive in the last few transfer windows, hence why we kind of are where we are. We are getting players in the door that are of significant quality. And like I say, just long may that continue. And with the Champions League, of course, that needs to be a big pull to bring big players in.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to say, I've said this before on my channel. I'm going to say it again because I like to hammer home the point sometimes. I had this conversation before, and with Arsenal fans, right? Sections, keyword is sections. So people that start getting upset and sending me private DM. Stop behaving like your accountants. Now, I don't want to hear none of this debate about either Rice or Caicedo. Just be quiet and shut up. We need both. We need both. Address the areas properly. I don't do none of the sentimental rubbish. Listen, if players are going to be kept on at the club, that's down to the boss. If he doesn't think they're any good enough, if he doesn't think they're good enough, they can go. Arsenal fans, you can't have it both ways. You can't want to be sentimental and keep certain players to be squad players, inverted commas, and when they come in, you complain they're not good enough. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's like even yesterday, I think Mikel Arteta was asked, and I don't know, you was there when he was speaking or whatever, but you might have heard it. We've been told Granit Xhaka's going, right? He wants a new challenge. When he was like, he said he's not answering that or whether he's going or not. Or there's now they've kind of created this narrative where he might potentially stay. What do you feel about that?
I think it's just Arteta just playing games with the media. To be fair, I think we all know that Xhaka is going. I'd like to keep him actually for one more year, but it would only be it would only be on the bench, to be honest. But you know, he deserves to play first team football. He's been brilliant this season for us. So if he does go, I think he'll have most Arsenal supporters bless him. But yeah, like I say, we just need to just make sure we bring in the quality players with the status that we have as a Champions League club this year.
You're right. Before I come to the other two, I want to see minimum 5 come in, and I want to see the door revolving at the club. Maitland-Niles, Pepe, gone. If ESR and these players are not in your plans, they go. Like we can't be.
And I mean, going back to what you said about youth players as well, mate. If you have a good youth academy, it's not just bringing players into your first team, but it's being able to sell youth players for good money as well.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure Spurs and Liverpool have done it in the past. So these two will be able to probably think of examples. But yeah, we need to make sure that the players that aren't going to get any minutes or limited minutes, that we can move them on. And a bit like Liverpool done a few seasons ago, where they had the likes of Rhian Brewster and Dominic Solanke and these sorts of younger players in their squad. We can move these on to Premier League clubs or other teams with money for good fees, and then try and reinvest it that way.
Fantastic, Ray. Fantastic. Let me go. Thank you. Big up to people in the chat. It's been very lively. Your support on a bank holiday Monday. We're probably chilling in the garden, getting a suntan, eating hot dogs, whatever you're doing in your bank holiday Monday. But thank you for tuning to Albert JT. Smash a like for Weekly Surgery, man. This is my panel has been amazing. And so I'm gonna round this up. It just popped into my head actually. Just popped into my head like that. Ray, I'm gonna leave you last for a specific reason. Come to Doug. If you were to rate your season out of 10, what'd you give it? Tough, innit? Tough question, isn't it?
3.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, I would. Barring a couple of amazing results like Manchester City 1-0, and obviously, the big 7-0 against Manchester United, which I think is never ever going to happen in our lifetimes ever again. Yeah, 3. How can we basically go from almost basically winning everything that we could have had at our disposal and then completely go into Europa League? It has been an absolute shambles of a season. So yeah, for me, I think I'm being generous there, but 3 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Geez, fair enough. Listen, you see your team more than I do, so I listen. I'll take your word for it. Obviously, you want improvements for next season, but we'll have another show to talk about that. But coming to my YouTube Tottenham wife, I know I've given you time to think about things and dissect and see where your club is at, Holly. Holly, what would you give your season? What you've seen out of 10?
We've done going with a 3. I feel like I should go lower just because, respectively of how awful we've been. I don't know, because at the start of the season, things were all right, things were good, and then it all just completely slipped off. I don't know whether it's because of the injuries during the World Cup. I don't want to use the World Cup as an excuse because everybody's had the World Cup to deal with. But we just haven't been the same. I think losing Bentancur was the massive blow
big
for
loss.
us.
Yeah.
Because you look at Skip and Højbjerg and they're so similar. Nothing creates in the middle. I mean, recently we've tried Basuma, and I know it's probably too far towards the end of the season to do so, but we've tried it and things look better. I'm gonna say a 2, not just because Doug's put a 3, but I'm gonna say a 2 because we've had these problems for so long, and all of a sudden it's just got even worse. And I didn't think that was humanly possible. But with Spurs, everything seems possible at the minute. To finish this season out of Europe, which is the first time we've done so since 2009, is ridiculous. Not saying, I mean, it sounds really hypocritical because I didn't want Europe, just purely because of how far we've fallen. But it just puts into perspective that at my club at the minute, it seems that football's the second thing on the list rather than being the high priority, especially with Beyonce
that's it.
singing tonight.
Beyonce. Up the Beyonce. Come on.
So,
Are you going, Ollie? You going?
I'm going with the 2 because football is just out the window right now. Beyonce, though, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Good art, Ollie. Beyonce. Coming to Ray. What's your thoughts about the season? I think obviously it's interesting to hear what you've got to say actually, because I see it been floating around, and I thought about it, and I know what my answer is, but I'll tell you what's yours, mate.
If you had to push me on a number, I'd probably say 8 out of 10. I mean, if you're doing 0.5s, maybe out 8.5.
I'll give you 8, Ray. 8.
All right, we'll go a strong 8 then. The reason being is because we did go out of the cup competitions far too early in my liking. But how I see it is that we have a top 4 squad that had overachieved for a lot of the season actually, and found ourselves in a title race. And I know expectations always change, don't they, as the season goes on. And we obviously tried to address that in January by bringing in the players that we did. But, you know, City are just relentless. And Doug will be able to tell you when you've got Man City just breathing down your neck, you cannot make any mistakes. Can't make any mistakes whatsoever. Otherwise, they will pounce. The points total, I think, is good, 84. Obviously, we've thrown away some stupid points in the last few weeks. But, I mean, if you look across Europe, most teams are winning their leagues on around 82 to 83 points. So I think it just shows how dominant and how much of a monster Man City actually are. But they have won the league. I think it was an 89 points in the end.
89 points, yeah.
Yeah. So all in all, mate, I think we've got progression, and that gives us hope. But we don't have any tangible success. We have no silverware to lift at the end of this season. So and ultimately, for a big club, that's the name of the game, isn't it? So we just have to lick our wounds, and we have to go again next year.
Well said, Ray. Well said. And obviously, as your host, Albert JTV, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's been massive progression. Arsenal have got back into the top 4 and finished second with a league title challenge. We know that 84 points is good enough to get Champions League, not to win a league title. To win a league title, you have to be 90 points, in excess of 90 points. In excess of 90 points. That is the benchmark. You know, City done 100 points. Liverpool that season, 97 points and not win the league is insane. You know, in the Premier League, with as long as our Guardiola is going to be here, and I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon, you have to hit 90 points plus to win the league. Arsenal need to go out and get a forward. I don't want to hear none of that. Listen, we've got a lot of goals this season, but we need a forward. We absolutely need a forward. We need 2 centre midfield players, and we need a right back. But like I said, minimum 5 places to come in. It's not been a successful season because we haven't got no silverware. End of story. You know, Man United have got a trophy in the cabinet. They could even get one next Saturday, and they would have finished 3rd. They would have the better season. I can turn around and say that. It's not a problem. But we need to, Ray, you're right. We need to put, we're a big club, we need to put trophies in the cabinet. And it's going to be a big summer this season because, listen, the question's not going to be asked anymore season after season. Arteta's inexperienced. There's not many jobs you'll work in an industry, in any job you do, where you can turn around and say to the boss, I've been here 5 years, but I'm still inexperienced. It's not going to happen. You need to deliver. And the players need to do that as well. But it's going to be an interesting summer. But people, amazing weekly surgery, people. Big up to the people in the chat. My amazing panel representing Tottenham, obviously Liverpool, and our beloved mighty Arsenal. Up the Arsenal, people. But yeah, smash the like button. Subscribe to Holly and Doug's channel, which is in the title as well, but I'll let them give a plug anyway. Firstly, Doug, thank you for coming on, mate. And great to get you on again. We'll definitely collab for next season. But tell the guys where they can find you, man.
Yeah, right, as it says on the Dog Football channel, and I have done that right. I always do that wrong, but I've managed to do that right this time. Twitter handle is Ernrod_992, Instagram is Douglas.horn, and I'm also on Facebook at Douglas James Horn.
People, go and subscribe to my guy, man. Love Doug, man. Doug's doing bits, man. And Ray, my bro, you haven't got a channel, but you're like my right hand anchor to do weekly surgery. We do our Sunday morning reviews and the rest of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell the people where they can find you, man.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, and it's been a quality conversation actually. Holly, you're actually very level-headed for a Spurs supporter, which is very rare.
I didn't say you bottled it once as well.
Yeah, exactly. We're 55 minutes in, and you said the B word. And same to you, Doug, as well. You know, talk a lot of sense. But yeah, if anyone wants to follow me, I'm Ray_Kasim on Twitter. So there you go.
And last, but thank you, Ray. The people go follow my guy. Last but not least, my Tottenham wife. Now, Holly, it's not really over because we've got this international duty to worry about actually for the Women's World Cup, which we will be collabing again. We collabed for the World Cup for the men's. It was fantastic. Holly, I must admit, I'm going to tell you a little story actually. When I was doing the prep for the show, and I was tagging obviously you guys to the channel, I tagged the wrong Holly. I put Holly Willoughby. Now she's got a lot going on at the moment. So Holly Willoughby was not coming onto the podcast. Right? I can definitely tell you that. So, that was an easy.
At least she doesn't have to work with Schofield, so you know it's. We can't be bad as him, right? So
that's another shot. Yeah, Justin. But yeah, I'm gonna tag the wrong Holly, which she's got a lot going on. So it's a good. She was not coming on the show tonight, Holly Willoughby. She's got a lot going on. So. Yeah, but that's a mistake I would never have made in a million years. But Holly, it's been a pleasure to get you on again. Like I said, we have international duties to look forward to. Tell the people where they can find you.
So yeah, you can just find me at my name, Holly Agenbar, across Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And we are having a therapy session tonight at 7 p.m. on Holly's Hotspurs to dissect everything that's gone on. And I'm hoping it's going to be an hour, but I feel like it's going to be 2 hours with everything that's going wrong. But no, thank you for having me on. It's great to speak to you guys and obviously about your seasons because I need a bit of a respite. I'm not going to lie.
Who's coming on your channel? Who's coming on your channel tonight, Holly? By the way,
I've got Costa. Andy Costa from Blue. I've got Crackers.
No, you're definitely 2 hours, man. Crackers is coming on, man.
No. I've got 2 hours because I'm going to mention Poch and Jay is going to hit the fan as soon as I say his name. So
I am definitely tuning in for this, 100%.
Me too.
Holly,
behave because he's only going to be next door. So
Holly, I will do it for a little bit because I've got a show. I'm going on the same one Arsenal at 7:30. So I will tune in for a little bit. So don't try to ignore my messages. I'm going to ping in the chat.
I won't. I promise.
But football community, subscribe to Holly and Doug's channel and follow Ray on the Twitter handle as well. Like I said, as your host, Albert JTV, episode 22 for Weekly Surgery. Been a blast, people. Need to recharge the batteries, kind of, but still be doing content that makes sense. But yeah, that's Albert JTV over and out, people. Weekly Surgery is now officially closed for Bank Holiday Monday. See you soon, people.